'Twas the night before Christmas, when all through the house not a creature was stirring, not even a mouse. The stockings were hung by the chimney with care, in hopes that St. Nicholas soon would be there. The children were nestled all snug in their beds, while visions of sugar plums danced in their heads. And Mama in her kerchief and I in my cap had just settled our brains for a long winter's nap, when out on the lawn there arose such a clatter. I sprang from my bed to see what was the matter. Away to the window I flew like a flash, tore open the shutters and threw up the sash. The moon on the breast of the new fallen snow gave a lustre of midday to objects below, when what to my wondering eyes did appear but a miniature sleigh and 8 tiny reindeer, with a little old driver so lively and quick. I knew in a moment he must be Saint Nick. More rapid than eagles his coursers they came, and he whistled and shouted and called them by name. Now Dasher, now Dancer, now Prancer and Vixen, on Comet, on Cupid, on Dunder and Blitzen, to the top of the porch, to the top of the wall. Now dash away, dash away, dash away all, as leaves that before the wild hurricane fly, when they meet with an obstacle mount to the sky. So up to the housetop the coursers they flew, with the sleigh full of toys and St. Nicholas too. And then in a twinkling I heard on the roof the prancing and pawing of each little hoof. As I drew in my head and was turning around, down the chimney St. Nicholas came with a bound. He was dressed all in fur from his head to his foot, and his clothes were all tarnished with ashes and soot. A bundle of toys he had flung on his back, and he looked like a peddler just opening his pack. His eyes how they twinkled, his dimples how merry. His cheeks were like roses, his nose like a cherry. His droll little mouth was drawn up like a bow, and the beard on his chin was as white as the snow. The stump of a pipe he held tight in his teeth, and the smoke, it encircled his head like a wreath. He had a broad face and a little round belly that shook when he laughed like a bowl full of jelly. He was chubby and plump, a right jolly old elf, and I laughed when I saw him in spite of myself. A wink of his eye and a twist of his head soon gave me to know I had nothing to dread. He spoke not a word, but went straight to his work and filled all the stockings, then turned with a jerk, and laying his finger aside of his nose and giving a nod, up the chimney he rose. He sprang to his sleigh, to his team gave a whistle, and away they all flew like the down of a thistle. But I heard him exclaim as he drove out of sight, "Happy Christmas to all, and to all a good night." Now children and adult children of all ages, here's the rest of the story that you've never heard before, told in 3 parts. Part 1, the morning after the magical eve. 'Twas the morning of Christmas, when all through the house not a creature was stirring save one drowsy mouse. The stockings still hung by the chimney just so, and embers lay warm from the night's fading glow. The children lay nestled, still deep in their dreams, while echoes of laughter ran soft through their beams. They murmured of reindeer and bells in the air, of bundles of joy and a jolly old stare. And I, in my robe, with my coffee held tight, sat pondering softly the wonders of night, for visions still danced where my thoughts liked to roam, of magic that lingered long after he'd gone. The clock gently ticked as the sunrise drew near, its glow brushing windows in amber and cheer. Snow shimmered outside like a quilt freshly spun, each sparkle a whisper of what had been done. I rose from my chair and stepped light on the floor, past parcels and ribbons and gifts by the door. Each trinket lay waiting, still wrapped up in gleam, as proof that the night was far more than a dream. The fire gave a sigh as it settled to rest, like a tale well retold in a voice warmly blessed. And there, near the hearth where his boots once had stood, lay a trace of old soot, dark, humble, and good. I bent down in wonder, my heart beating fast, and touched that small mark from a visitor past. It felt oddly warm, as if holding the cheer of laughter and kindness and goodwill sincere. Was he truly here? Whispered thoughts in my head, as memories flickered of words he had said. For though I'd been quiet and hid from his sight, I'd heard him chuckle that magical night. Not loudly, not boldly, but gentle and low, like a brook under ice with a soft moving flow. A laugh that suggested the world would be fine. That joy was still possible year after time. I stood then and listened, no hoofbeat, no sleigh, no reindeer in flight on their far distant way. Yet something remained, like a hush rich and deep, the kind only hope leaves behind when you sleep. The children soon stirred, one by one they arose, with bright eager eyes and pink-tipped little toes. They gasped at the bounty that filled up the room, as joy bloomed like flowers escaping their bloom. "Oh, look!" cried the youngest, with wonder anew. "He came while we slept, just like stories say true." Their laughter rang out like sweet bells on the air, and Christmas awoke everywhere, everywhere. They tore through the paper, each ribbon undone, while squeals of delight raced faster than sun. Yet still, in their joy, there was something more bright, a feeling they carried from deep in the night. For nestled among all the toys and the cheer was a quiet reminder that something was near, not tagged with a name, not wrapped up with a bow, but glowing nonetheless with a soft inner glow. It rested quite plain on the table in sight, a small wooden star worn smooth by long flight. No jewels, no sparkle, no gilded display, just humble and warm in a curious way. "What's this?" asked the eldest, her voice soft and slow, as she lifted the star with a reverent glow. And somehow the room seemed to pause in its cheer, as though something sacred was drawing us near. I cleared my own throat, though no answer I had, for the star felt familiar, comforting, glad. Its edges were rounded, its grain dark with age, like a bookmark once kept in a well-loved old page. And then, like a whisper that slips through the mind, a memory surfaced, both gentle and kind, of Santa, bent low by the hearth's fading light, placing something down before bidding good night. Not a toy meant to dazzle, nor treat meant to fade, but something much older, more thoughtfully made. A token, perhaps, of a promise well kept, of magic that lingers long after he slept. The children grew quiet, still holding that star, as if sensing its meaning went deep, wide and far. And though none yet could say what the moment implied, they felt it together, all standing inside. Outside, church bells chimed from the town just below, their notes drifting soft through the fresh fallen snow. And Christmas, it seemed, had a story to tell, not just of one night, but of living it well. For Santa, dear Santa, had more left to say than a laugh and a sleigh on his whirlwinded way. His journey went onward far past Christmas Eve, through the hearts of all those who still dared to believe. And so, as the morning grew brighter and clear, I knew in my bones this was only the year's first page of a tale that would gently unfold, of kindness passed on and of wonder retold. Part 2, Where Santa Goes When the World Sleeps. When the bustle had settled, the wrapping lay torn, and daylight grew older on Christmas morn, the children at last, full of laughter and cheer, were coaxed back to quiet by cocoa and cheer. They dozed in their corners or played soft and slow, while outside the snow kept its whispering glow. And I, with that star still warm in my hand, felt pulled by a thought I could not countermand. For stories, I knew, do not end when they pause. They breathe on their own with unwritten laws. And Santa's great work, though crowned by one night, must wander much farther than chimney and flight. So I closed both my eyes, let the hush settle in, and followed the path where such tales begin, where dreams take the lead and the world slips away, to places unseen by the light of the day. I pictured the sleigh as it faded from view, past rooftops and treetops and clouds drifting through, past cities grown silent, past farms tucked in snow, past oceans that shimmered like glass far below. The reindeer pressed onward, their breath like white flame, each knowing their place, each hearing their name. They flew not with hurry nor reckless delight, but steady and true through the deep velvet night. For Santa, you see, was not finished just yet, though most of the world his visit would forget. For while gifts bring wonder and laughter and cheer, they are not his only concern every year. He travelled to places where lights were kept low, where windows were dark and hope moved slow, where children lay listening, wide-eyed in bed, to worries too heavy for hearts so widespread. He paused by the houses with roofs worn and thin, where cold sometimes crept through the cracks creeping in. And though he left nothing wrapped shiny and neat, he lingered a while on each snow-covered street. A hush followed him, gentle, tender and deep, as if even sorrow had drifted to sleep. For Santa carried, tucked close to his chest, something far softer than toys at their best. He carried reassurance in whispers and sighs, in warmth placed unseen behind tired young eyes, a promise that even when times feel unkind, the world still has goodness it's trying to find. In hospitals hushed by machines softly humming, he lingered beside beds where dawn was still coming. He placed no bright packages, rang no small bell, yet hope stirred like embers where shadows once fell. In houses where arguing echoed too loud, where hearts felt divided, uncertain and bowed, he brushed gentle peace through the rooms as he passed, like dusting off worries that need not quite last. And out on the roads where the night shift ran long, where drivers stayed wakeful with coffee and song, he left behind patience, a moment of calm, a breath that felt warm like a steadying palm. For Santa knew well with his century's sight that magic grows weary if used for one night, so he scattered it slowly in portions just right, to last through the darkness till spring brought back light. He travelled through forests asleep in their snow, past rivers that dreamed of a gentler flow, and even the creatures tucked deep in their dens seemed eased by his passing like old trusted friends. The moon watched him glide with her pale silver gleam, as if she herself were still part of the dream. She nodded approvingly, ancient and wise, for she'd seen him at work through uncountable skies. And time, it behaved in a curious way, stretching moments like taffy, then slipping away. For when Santa worked, the clock loosened its hold, letting seconds grow softer, less sharp, less controlled. At last, near the edge of the world's waking breath, where night yields to morning with delicate death, the sleigh gently slowed, the reindeer drew near, to a place untouched fully by hope or by fear. It wasn't a workshop, nor palace, nor hall, but a quiet old clearing beyond them all, where stars gathered low and the snow shimmered thin, and the silence felt holy before you stepped in. There Santa dismounted, his boots in the frost, and counted not toys but the moments he'd lost, the smiles yet unkindled, the tears yet unshed, the words left unsaid and the fears people fled. He sighed, not in sadness but thoughtful and deep, like someone who knows there are promises to keep, then turned back once more toward the wide waiting sky, where rooftops still slept as the hours slipped by. For Christmas, he murmured, so softly it seemed. The stars leaned in closer to hear what he dreamed. Is not just a night, nor a date on the page. It's a light we must tend year to year, age to age. And with that he mounted his sleigh once again. The reindeer stepped forward, then 6, then 8, then 10. They lifted him gently back into flight, to finish his rounds before yielding to light. As dawn brushed the world with a rose-colored hue, he faded from sight, as he always must do. But traces remained like that star by the fire, small signs of a kindness that never tires. And somewhere, though no one quite knew how or why, a heart felt less heavy, a soul breathed a sigh. For Santa had passed, not with noise nor with flame, but leaving the world ever so slightly changed. Part 3. The Christmas Magic That Stays. As daylight wore on and the house found its peace, the clamor of Christmas began to release. The ribbons lay idle, the boxes lay bare, and quiet returned like a guest who knows where. The children, grown weary from wonder and play, were guided once more to their rooms for the day. They climbed into blankets still warm from the morn, while outside the snow stayed pristine and unshorn. And I, by the window, that small wooden star, still resting quite warm where my thoughts often are, felt something now settled, now rooted, now true. A sense that the magic had work left to do. For though Santa's sleigh had long vanished from sight, and Christmas would soon give way back to routine and to night, the gift he'd left gently unspoken and small was not meant for December alone after all. I placed that old star on the mantel up high, where firelight could dance and shadows drift by. It caught not the light like a glittering gem, yet somehow made brighter the room it was in. The hours passed softly as afternoons do, with naps in the chairs and a book or two. And though nothing happened that begged to be told, the silence itself felt precious as gold. For silence, I learned, can be rich when it's kind, when it wraps gentle thoughts through the corners of mind. And Santa, it seemed, had taught this well. That stillness itself casts a powerful spell. As evening crept in with its lavender hue, the children awoke, as all dreamers will do. They wandered back out with a calm in their stride, something new in their eyes they could not quite hide. "What happens now?" asked the youngest at last, as though Christmas itself were slipping too fast. And I smiled, quite sure of the answer I'd found, though it hummed more like feeling than literal sound. "Now," I said softly, "we carry it on. The kindness, the wonder, from dusk until dawn. For Santa can't be everywhere all the year, so he leaves bits of Christmas for us to hold dear." They nodded, though unsure just what it might mean. But children, I've found, know more than is seen. They held hands a moment, then wandered away, as if Christmas had taught them just how to stay. That night, as the stars reclaimed places they knew, and the moon climbed once more through her slow silver blue, I stood by the hearth where the embers lay low, and listened again to the hush in the glow. No sleigh bells rang out, no hoofbeats were heard, yet peace filled the room without speaking a word. For magic, I'd learned, does not clamor or shout. It waits to be noticed, then quietly steps out. And somewhere afar, though the world may not see, Santa continued his work endlessly. In smiles held open, in patience well worn, in kindness extended on tired weekday morns. He lived in the moments when someone chose grace, when love found expression in time and in space, in hands offered freely, in burdens made light, in hope that stayed glowing well past Christmas night. So, if ever you wonder as years hurry by, whether Santa still travels the earth and the sky, look not to the rooftops, the chimneys, the sleigh, but watch how you treat those you meet every day. For Christmas, dear listener, was never confined to stockings or parcels or dates we assign. It breathes when we choose to be patient and kind, and lives in the best parts of heart and of mind. And so, as I turned down the lamps for the night, and whispered good wishes by soft candlelight, I smiled, knowing well as the house fell asleep, that some gifts are meant far longer to keep, than laying my head where sweet dreaming could start. With that quiet old star still aglow in my heart, I rested content, for I knew without fright Christmas would live every day, every night. Wishing you peace in all seasons. Love to you from the Dreamer.